Portal of the unknown, mysteries revealed in the shadows of the apocalypse. Greetings, explorers of shadows and seekers of hidden truth. Welcome to another delve into the depths of existence here at the Portal of the Unknown. Today, the mist that shrouds the ages dissipates for a moment, revealing hidden connections between biblical events, prophetic visions, and secrets forgotten by time. A macabre and persistent question echoes through the centuries, gaining frightening resonance in our present time. Is the beast of the apocalypse already among us? Prepare yourselves for shocking interpretations, for the truth at times is more unsettling than the darkest fantasy. The ancient seeds of evil, Nephilim and the spirit of the beast. Since the dawn of time, humanity has been confronted with the inevitability of the end. Civilizations have crumbled, empires have disintegrated, and with each twilight, the shadows of apocalyptic prophecies have lengthened. But one figure stands out amidst the chaos and desolation, an entity that embodies ultimate evil, the culmination of all iniquity. References to it are scattered throughout sacred and apocryphal texts, whispered in ancient tongues and reinterpreted by restless minds throughout history. The beast, with its multiple heads and horns, its mouth uttering blasphemies, and its power dominating nations. But is it a literal creature, a monster emerging from the depths of hell, or a much more subtle and insidious manifestation, weaving its web into the very fabric of our reality? To unravel this enigma, we need to venture beyond dogmatic interpretations, navigating the murky waters of narratives that have been marginalized, hidden, or simply forgotten. Let's begin with the strange and enigmatic figures of the Nephilim, briefly mentioned in Genesis and expanded upon in works like the Book of Giants, part of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Genesis chapter 6 verse 4 tells us, "There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown." But the Book of Giants, part of the Qumran scrolls, for example, details these beings with a darker perspective. They were not just large, they were beings of corruption, the fruit of an unnatural union between fallen angels and human women, who spread violence and depravity across the earth. We could see the Nephilim as the first incarnation of the spirit of the beast, not as a single being, but as a lineage, a malignant influence that corrupts flesh and spirit. If the beast of the apocalypse is the culmination of all earthly evil, then the Nephilim would represent its precursors, the architects of a primordially fallen society. They instigated violence, bloodshed, and perversion, preparing the ground for an even more virulent seed. Their destruction in the flood did not eradicate evil, but purified it temporarily, leaving the door ajar for its resurgence in new forms. Could the genetic or spiritual traits of these ancient beings have remained latent, awaiting the opportune moment to emerge? The thought is unsettling, but the history of humanity is, after all, an endless cycle of ascent and fall, of light and shadow. Azazel and the corrupting force moving forward in time and mysticism, we encounter the cosmic revelations of the apocalypse, of Abraham, an apocryphal Jewish text that offers an alternative view of creation, the fall, and the final judgment. In this text, Abraham is led into a celestial and infernal vision, where he witnesses the origin of evil and the destiny of sinners. One of the most disturbing passages describes the figure of Azazel, a fallen angel who is presented as a monstrous creature with multiple wings and tails, emanating impurity and temptation. In the Apocalypse of Abraham, chapter 13, verse 6, Azazel describes himself as the incarnation of all impurity. If we interpret the apocalyptic beast not just as a political or religious figure, but as the personification of a spiritual force that manipulates humanity for its own destruction, then Azazel fits this profile. He does not govern openly, but seduces and corrupts from within, instigating hatred, greed, and division. Abraham's visions reveal a universe where evil is a living entity, not merely an absence of good, and actively seeks control over human souls. The power of the beast, as described in Revelation chapter 13, verse 7, that it was granted to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and authority was given him over every tribe, people, tongue, and nation, echoes the universal reach of this malignant influence, which transcends borders and cultures. It is not just about visible tyranny, but about dominion over the mind and spirit, prophetic cycles and systemic evil. What if the beast is not a single entity, but a process, a cycle of decay that repeats through the ages? The Book of Jubilees, another apocryphal text of great importance, offers a detailed chronology of the world, dividing history into jubilees of 49 years, each marked by prophetic events and divine judgments. The Book of Jubilees, chapter 23, verse 16, for example, describes an era of increasing iniquity. And the days of that time shall begin to diminish, and the children of men shall be few, and their lives shall be shorter, and they shall live in perversity and bloodshed. The prophetic cycles of the Book of Jubilees force us to question whether the beast is a singular event or the culmination of a series of manifestations of tyranny and oppression that arise repeatedly throughout human history. Could the spirit of the beast be a recurring force, manifesting whenever humanity reaches a peak of pride, avarice, and detachment from the divine? Our wars, our tyrannies, our mass manipulations, are they all expressions of this primordial force awaiting the moment to consolidate into a final form? The beast of Revelation chapter 13 is described as rising from the sea, a symbol of peoples, nations, and turbulence, and from the earth, representing political power and earthly control. This suggests an origin not of a single individual, but of a system, a conglomerate of influences that emerges from humanity's own effervescence. Is the beast already among us? Now let's return to the present. Is the beast of the apocalypse already among us? Let's look around. We see an increasingly interconnected world where information flows instantly, but truth becomes a rare commodity, easily manipulated. We see a globalized system that, while promising unity, often crushes individuality and freedom in the name of efficiency and control. The rise of technologies that monitor every step, every thought, every preference. The ability of governments and corporations to massively influence public perception, to create virtual realities more convincing than reality itself. Could the beast be the global surveillance system, the artificial intelligence that learns and improves with every interaction, the network of financial control that dictates the economic life and death of millions? Could it be the ideology that preaches a new order at the expense of individual and spiritual sovereignty? An order where dissent is silenced and obedience is rewarded? Daniel chapter 7 verse 23 describes a fourth beast different from all, the others, and exceedingly dreadful, with its teeth of iron and claws of bronze. It devoured, broke in pieces, and trampled what was left with its feet. This description aligns frighteningly with the capacity of a modern totalitarian system to crush any opposition, devour cultures, and trample upon the most basic freedoms. The mirror of humanity. And what about the promised shocking interpretations? What if the beast is not an external being, but a reflection, a shadow cast by humanity itself? What if it is the personification of our own will to power, our insatiable thirst for control, our abdication of freedom in exchange for false security? The Bible tells us that the beast receives its power from the dragon, the ancient serpent, who is the devil and Satan. Revelation chapter 13 verse 4. But the dragon does not operate in a vacuum. It operates through temptation and the corruption of the human soul. If the beast manifests through systems and ideologies, it is we, with our choices and consents, who give them life and power. The spiritual struggles shaping humanity today are more complex than ever. We are not just fighting visible enemies, but invisible currents that try to conform us, silence us, disconnect us from our divine essence. The mark of the beast, Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, may not be a literal microchip on the hand or forehead, but forced adherence to a system that denies truth, freedom, and spiritual sovereignty. Those who refuse this mark are those who maintain their individuality, their faith, and their ability to think critically, even in the face of oppression, discernment, and hope. Therefore, the question persists: is the beast of the apocalypse already among us? Perhaps not as a singular being emerging from the abyss, but as a diffuse presence, a corrupting force that infiltrates our institutions, our media, our minds. It is the whisper that convinces us to trade freedom for security, truth for convenience, faith for conformity. It is the shadow that prevents us from questioning, from discerning, from resisting. But even in the depths of darkness, the flame of hope persists. Revelation is not just about desolation, but about resistance and the ultimate victory of light. Discernment is our armor, questioning is our sword, and the search for truth is our guide. Each of us, with our daily choices, decides whether to feed the beast or strengthen the light. The portal of the unknown will continue to explore these mysteries, to unravel the layers of time, and to seek the answers that shape our destiny. The questions that remain are our call to action. What is your mark? Are you discerning the true nature of the forces at work in our world? How can we prepare, not just for the end, but for the redemption that emerges from the shadows? If you have been challenged by these reflections, if you have felt the urgency of these revelations, then this is your place. Subscribe to the Portal of the Unknown, activate notifications, and join us on our incessant journey to unravel the deepest secrets of existence. There is much more to be revealed in the shadows of the apocalypse, and your search for truth is essential.